Mike, it's great to see you in space again. We're all jealous, and we all wish we were there with you. How are you doing?
Look at space. You guys recognize this?
Wow, amazing.
The view out of the port window in the gem. I'm doing great. How are you guys? You look all well. Good to see you guys.
So talk to us a little bit about 6-time back at the International Space Station.
Obviously, it never gets old. It feels, when we came aboard on Ax-1, it kind of felt like home. I think you guys have heard me use this description where it's like you go and visit your parents in the house that you grew up in, but it's been remodeled a few times. Now it's like I was there for Thanksgiving and it's Christmas now, I mean, it hasn't been very long and the station looks pretty much the same. Different family this time. They're super helpful and inviting.
A big warm welcome to Axiom 3.
Can't ask for more cooperation from them, so that's been great.
And then the second part of that question is private astronaut commercial flights. Why is that important as we move forward?
It's important for Axiom because we're trying to build a commercial space station, and in order to do that, we have to understand how flying in space works, right? The procedures, the processes, the organizational relationships, all those things are things that you can't just write down on paper. You have to do them a few times. What we're trying to do to learn how to live and work in space as a company. And also, it helps us expand the group of entities, whether they be people or countries or researchers or you name it, that come to the ISS. So we're effectively building a market for our future space station as well.
This mission, from our point of view, we were all private citizens, and now the crew, they're new as government astronauts. How do you see the contribution of private astronauts evolving?
And when you say private astronaut, I think you mean the individual like yourself. I think that it helps in a couple of ways. One, we're trying to democratize this experience, but it's also important for us to make this available to people like yourselves. And I really think that helps spread this, this overview effect that we talk so much about, because all of you have different kinds of social circles and areas of influence that government astronauts really don't. But I think you guys have a different sphere of influence, influence on influencers. And I think that's very important for the future of commercial space, especially in low Earth orbit destinations.
Yeah.
As you guys remember, we're doing a lot of both live and recorded events for people back home in their countries. And it's pretty interesting because with the 4 of us, we have more than doubled the amount of nationalities up here. So you can't go more than half an hour without hearing a foreign language up here, which is nice. I mean,
ברוכים הבאים לתחנת החלל הבינלאומית.
Right here, we hear Swedish, we hear Turkish, we hear Italian, and of course we hear Russian. So it's been really a broadening experience. And I think the guys are doing a good job communicating it back. Maybe, Eitan, you had the best or the closest experience to this because you, in some ways, represented Israel as much or not more than representing yourself.
Thanks for that. Maybe a word on the experiment about the TLEs that started 21 years ago on the STS-107 mission with Ilan Ramon. Then I continued, and now your crew is continuing collecting data on these amazing effects of the thunderstorms and lightning events. And the analysis of the images has really created discoveries and amazing scientific research. Could you say a few words about your experience now on this mission?
Sure. I mean, for those of you who haven't done it, basically it involves going into the cupola at night, beyond the initial stumbling that inevitably occurs because you're fumbling around in the dark and you've got to put a fluid on the camera to keep the light out. When the forecast is right and you see thunderstorms, I mean, it is spectacular. It's a real joy because basically you just point the camera out the window, press record, and then get to watch this light show. course, you don't see them with the naked eye. Spirits, they call them, which are, up in the very, very high reaches of the atmosphere above thunderstorms that are sort of luminescent, crazy shapes and colors. It's really beautiful. It's very rewarding, and I have my alarm set every time one of those events comes up.
Mike, walk us into the future, 3, 4, 5 years from now. Generally from Axiom's perspective, potential for the new module, NASA, International Space Station. How do you see this either changing or evolving?
Maybe even deep space, private missions.
And there might be, right? I think it's possible that Starship could provide something like that. We're all hoping for success in that regard because it's important for the Artemis program. But closer to home, so to speak, on the in the low Earth orbit front, I think in 5 years from now it's 2029, right? So we'll have modules docked to the front of the ISS. So our goal is to get the modules up there as soon as we possibly can. First one is targeting in 2026, and then about 6 to 9 months after that, the second one, etc. And we want to be in a posture to be able to separate when NASA says go. And right now things are on track. First two modules actually are being built as we speak, the shells of them in Palasolenia and Torino, Italy. The first one will be shipped to Houston in this summer, and we'll start integrating all the avionics and that sort of thing, which is kind of neat because it'll be, even though Houston is the center of human spaceflight in the U.S., no human spacecraft has ever been built there. And this will be the first, so that's pretty neat.
Mike, you mentioned the Space Week that we all attended last year, and the impact still remains. The impact is incredible. Mike, thank you for everything you did. It was a pleasure reconnecting, and give us a call if you have any questions or need any assistance from us. We're here, we're ready to go. And we all look forward to meeting you here on Earth very soon.